I think we had one of our clients reach out to us on LinkedIn. I think they reached out to you directly saying that their claim was not approved. They had a slip disc, I believe, in the back, and the insurer classified it as a specific illness. I remember we had to sort of fight. You had to go back to the insurance company, you had to argue the case, you had to say that, listen, this is an accident, the doctor's report has clearly stated.
A lot of times what happens is when the claims officer is approving, it's also subject to interpretation. How you are interpreting it. Now, depending upon the claims officer experience and the expertise, there can be a bit of subjectivity over there. When you're playing tennis, it is not an intended consequence that you will have a slip disc, basis which we can classify this as an accidental case.
Right.
And once we give that clarity to the insurer, we are able to get the claim approved.
I think in one of these videos I was talking about one insurance partner who, it was a 1.2 lakh claim and 50,000 were in deductions, right? They found everything. They wanted a breakup of whether a monitor was used, whether telephones were used, etc. Whereas some insurers may not want to go down that deep because they'll honor that request because they think it's reasonable, right? They think that, you know what, if you're staying for X amount of days in a premium Apollo facility, this is what it will cost you.
Correct.
And they won't be like, okay, fine, was there a duty doctor involved, right? Because that I can deny that. Or were there any other affiliate, charges involved?
They even charge you for the meals that you kind of, get in the hospital.
Right. Sometimes, meals are completely discounted, more often than not. So I think it depends on the insurer as well. Some insurers are less picky, some insurers are more picky. So even if you get the claims processed, it's a matter of knowing exactly which insurance is less picky and which insurance is more picky, because your claims experience will ultimately depend on that. Fair enough. Now let me talk about something else, right? This pre-existing disease waiting period and generally specific illness waiting period as well. I remember a case recently where I think we had one of our clients reach out to us on LinkedIn. I think they reached out to you directly saying that their claim was not approved because they had a slip disc, I believe, in the back, and the insurer classified it as a specific illness, which means the list of illnesses for which coverage is excluded for the first 2 years. Now, this is a common feature in most policies, and slip disc, I think, generally falls in this category. So, once you buy a policy for the first 2 years, the coverage is excluded for matters like this and cataract, and there are a few other diseases. However, the insurance document also states that if the disease precipitates because of an accident, let's suppose I'm playing a game of tennis, which is what happened to this client. Now, the client argues that they were playing a game of tennis and they pulled, the slip disc happened during the course of playing the game. They felt a sharp pain, they were admitted, and then they went to the insurance company, only for the insurance company to then say that the claim is denied because of the specific illness, provision.
Correct.
Right? Now, I remember we had to sort of fight, right? I think you had to go back to the insurance company, you had to argue the case, you had to say that, listen, this is an accident, the doctor's report has clearly stated.
No. So what happened was in the first submission that our user did, right? It just mentioned there is a slip disc. This is the procedure, or this is the kind of medication and that other things that we are kind of putting on.
Right.
Now, it nowhere specified how this particular slip disc has happened. Now, prima facie, it looks like, okay, this is a part of the specified illness waiting period for which there is a 2 years waiting period.
Correct.
Right? Simply because your slip disc issue may start very small, where no treatment or let's say no surgery is required immediately.
Right.
You can easily postpone these things for 1 or 2 years.
Right.
And that's the whole reason why the insurance company puts the specified illness waiting period.
Basically,
so
they're worried that people may not disclose this information while filing the application.
Yeah, or you will simply buy an insurance plan. After you're diagnosed with it, the doctor will typically tell you, okay, hey, we are trying to first try to treat you with medication, physiotherapy, exercises. If it does not get better, then we may have to go ahead and do a surgery. Now, sometimes people typically say, oh, now let me go ahead and get an insurance.
Yeah.
Now, insurance companies want to avoid this sort of situations, so they put all these kind of conditions under the specified illness waiting period.
Right.
Now, when our user first applied for the claim, it was not clear where this particular slip disc issue was coming from, right? Now, then once we inquired with the user, okay, what happened? Then he disclosed to us, hey, this happened while I was playing tennis. I was a fully healthy individual when I bought the plan, and even until yesterday when I kind of went to play tennis. Now, then we asked the customer to clearly get it in writing from the doctor that this particular happened while playing tennis. Now, when you're playing tennis, it is not an the intended consequence that you will have a slip disc.
Right.
So, basis which we can classify this as an accidental case.
Right.
And once we gave that clarity to the insurer, we are able to get the claim approved.
Right. So ultimately, it depends on how well you can build the case as well, right? Now, speaking of which, right, I know for a fact that this is a complicated gray area, because I remember another case where somebody had an anterior cruciate ligament injury, ACL injury, while they were playing football. Similar case, it's classified as a specific illness, no coverage, but then we proved that it was an accident, and eventually we managed to get the claim through, right? But generally, what is this process like? How long does it take for, let's suppose I don't have somebody like Ditto with me. Let's suppose they can't reach out to you directly, the founder, and ask you to probably pressurize the insurance company. What is the recourse for a general individual who's probably bought an insurance policy and they feel like they have to build a case? What should they go? What should they do? And what does this process look like?
Yeah. First thing is probably you have to read the entire policy document,
right,
to clearly understand in what situations, what medical conditions are allowed,
yeah,
what medical conditions are not allowed.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you have to clearly kind of figure out okay, if this is happened because of the accident, right? This, even though this falls in the specified illness waiting period or any of the other waiting periods that are there, this won't be applicable, right? And then you have to get your documentation and other things done. Now this would easily take at least like 3 to 4 weeks of your entire effort, because you will have to be doing a lot of back and forth, and every time that you would typically call up the insurance company, it will take at least half an hour or 1 hour for you to even get on a call with them, because of the waiting time and other things that they have over there.
This is why you probably would say that somebody who knows about insurance can probably build your case better, right?
Yeah. So even for my dad's claim, right, the cataract happened, I think 3 years after the policy was purchased. So all the waiting periods, everything was cleared.
Correct.
Okay. It's just that because I was not aware ki, you need like an item or a detailed breakup of the bills.
Got it.
Right? It took me 3 weeks.
Got it.
Right? There is I didn't even have to prove the case over there. It's just getting a couple of extra documents and getting it submitted.
Got it.
Now imagine the same situation if I have to prove a clear case that this is not falling or this is not the grounds on which you can reject the policy. It's going to take much longer. Whereas if you have someone who went through all these cases in the past, I know exactly, or this claims expert will know exactly what are the things that we have to give to the insurance company to prove our case and also to get the claim approved. Or else you will just keep submitting the documents, they'll keep rejecting it, you get on a line, again they won't be able to explain, they'll simply tell you, sir, this is the reason why we are rejecting. Now they are not going to come and tell you, sir, please go and go to the doctor and get a claim done. Because they would always want I found a reason to deny, so I'm just denying it.
And let's suppose, okay, I build the case, right? Let's suppose the insurance still doesn't listen to my request. Now, I know that sometimes we build a very, comprehensive case. We go to the insurer, we appeal, and they still say, no, we feel like this is fraudulent claim based on some internal metrics. I remember one case where this individual had a heart attack, and I think the claim from the insurance company was that they suffered the heart attack because it was linked to the diabetes problem, and they were serving the diabetes related waiting periods when this happened, right? So they were saying, because it's in the waiting period, we are not going to, pay off the claim. And obviously we built our case, we tried, and the insurance company wouldn't agree with our sort of assessment. So what do you do then? What happens then, right? What is the next recourse?
Then you can apply to basically you can appeal your case with the Ombudsman. Right now, the Ombudsman.
No, first I think we go to the grievance cell.
Yeah, right? First we can go to the grievance cell
of the insurance company.
Right. Who will have again an independent view of the entire situation.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes.
But is it really independent though? I mean, has it ever been that the grievance
in some cases, for example, a lot of times what happens is when the claims officer is approving, it's also subject to interpretation. Like how you are interpreting it. Now, depending upon the claims officer experience and the expertise, right, there can be a bit of subjectivity over there. So you may not have a lot of hope coming in from the grievance officer. But unfortunately,
because they're from the insurance company.
Yeah, they're from the insurance company, but you have to follow the due procedure. If you have to even go to the Ombudsman, first what they say is you appeal it with the insurance company's grievance officer. Even if they are not able to help you, right, in a specified time period, then you come to the Ombudsman.
Got it.
Right?
And the Ombudsman is like an independent party who's supposed to rule on disputes, basically, right? And how often do you think that we've had success here at Ditto when we took the matter to the Ombudsman, and what usually happens? Can you probably explain?
So once, let's say you appeal to the grievance officer as well, and your claim is still not approved, then you can file with the Ombudsman. Again, the documentation process is a bit, I would say, lengthy. Right? You have to file all the the claim documents. Right? When did you appeal with the insurance company? What are the rejection reasons? You have to apply for all of those. then you would be getting a particular hearing date from the ombudsman, right? Now, on this particular date, you have to attend the particular meeting. I think most of these days it's completely happening online, where the insurance company's representatives also will join the particular call. It's, I mean, in a very oversimplified way, it's like a court, right? You have your own lawyer or you have your own team, and they have a defendant that they are kind of simply defend, your cases over there.
But I think in most cases they don't even do that, right? I think
No,
once they realize
once you go there, at least in most of the cases that we have represented, once we go to take the case to the ombudsman, the insurance companies typically come and say, it's a, we are approving the case. They never accept that it's their mistake, but they simply come and tell we have reevaluated the case and we are going to go ahead and approve the claim in this case.
Yeah, I think what tends to happen in most cases is that the moment the ombudsman fixes a hearing, they immediately come back and say, we don't even want to do the, represent the case. We will, forego this entire claim. We will settle the amount. So I think that's another case where you need to have somebody on your side who's just going to do all the paperwork, the grunt work, etc., to make sure that they can represent your case with the grievance cell and eventually the ombudsman. Because I've seen the paperwork. I remember sitting with the ops team sometimes and just going through the amount of documents that they have to pour through just to build a strong case. And yeah, I mean, it's, I would struggle if I was not a ditto, and if I had to do it, I think I would probably struggle.
And even for example, if you are not able to build a very strong case, the ombudsman may not even call you for a hearing.
Correct.
Right? Because, I mean, it's not that they're going to call every case for hearing. They would evaluate every case that is coming to them basis the information that is available with them.
Correct.
Now, if they feel this is right and we should kind of, take it to the hearing, they will take it up. So it's all about how well you represent your case. It's just like this, right? You directly going to the Supreme Court or a High Court and filing your own case, or you're getting an experienced lawyer to do it. You'll have a higher chances of even the judge or, the hearing panel to have a word with you.
But I think the only difference is that here you have to represent your own case. It's just the amount of help that somebody else like Ditto or some other agent can offer, right? Fair enough. Now, let me talk about some other things. I think the common cases that we've seen when it comes to exclusion outside of the waiting period, right? The waiting period clause is a very common one. Specific illness may cataracts are not covered for the 2 years. Then probably pre-existing disease waiting period is not covered. But there are some other things that I think are very interesting, right? Interesting cases. I think one interesting case is when it comes to alcoholism and substance abuse. I remember one of my uncles, who had to, they had a corporate plan. They didn't have a plan with Ditto, but they had to take this matter up with the insurance company. And I think the insurance company's claim was that the cirrhosis of the liver in his case happened because of alcoholism, right? And they refused to, probably process the claim until the treating doctor had to explicitly write that based on his observations and his expertise, it seemed that this was not connected to alcoholism. So talk me through the substance abuse and alcoholism. How difficult is it for you to get a claim if you are a chronic smoker, chain smoker, or say if you are a chronic drinker, right? If somebody who's like partaking in alcoholism, very frequently.
So insurance companies typically ask for this input also when you're filling your application. Right. If you say that you're a smoker, they'll typically ask you, okay, how many cigarettes do you smoke in a day or in a week? Right. And similarly, they will ask you these questions about your alcoholism as well.
Are they asking this information to eventually build a case against you?
So it's like this, right? If you are consuming these substances over a certain limit, they will clearly say, hey, I'm not going to even issue the policy to you. So imagine you are smoking 20-30 cigarettes a day, right? there are a lot of people who typically do that. Or even if you tell that you engage or you kind of have alcohol every day, right? Now, it's a very clear-cut case for the insurance company even not today, in a couple of years or somewhere, right, this person is going to have a lot many more health issues.
Right.
So they will simply say, hey, I'm going to deny your claim.
Correct.
Now, if you are a occasional consumer, let's say you have alcohol once a week or once in a couple of weeks, then you better disclose this particular information to them very clearly. It's as simple as that, right? If the insurance company is saying, hey, I'm okay with you having a couple of beers a week, if they are issuing a policy, in the later stage, they cannot go ahead and deny the...
No, but what if they find a link to alcoholism?
Yeah, that's what, right? So the particular alcoholism is if you are consuming over and above a certain limit.
But is it
for example, your liver cirrhosis, in most of the cases will not happen if you are consuming 1 beer a week. But if you are a chronic alcoholic, right, the chances of the liver cirrhosis occurring is very high.
It's a matter of probability. But let's suppose even if I am an occasional drinker and God forbid I'm one of those few people who develop cirrhosis very quickly, which can happen, right? Then do you still believe that there is good grounds for the insurance company to deny a claim? or is there anything a patient can do to support his case? Because I think in the case of my uncle, I'm pretty sure he used to have the occasional alcohol, but because the doctor was so convinced that the cirrhosis had nothing to do
That's
with
right. If the doctor is clearly certifying it and giving it,
Right.
then I don't think you will have any issues.
So ultimately, it becomes the treating doctor's prerogative then. If they decide that this has nothing to do with alcoholism, then they don't have to got it. And what about, let's say, diagnostic reports? Because I think that's another thing, right? People get an MRI scan, etc. They go to the hospital, but only at the evaluation phase, the doctor decides that you can go back because they don't see a problem worth treating, right? What should people do in such cases?
In such cases, you cannot get any insurance claim because it's very, I would say, very very easy prone to kind of abuse here.
But can I ask my doctor to put me in the hospital for maybe a day and then tell him to do some proxy treatment or something like that?
I mean, see, if they're taking an MRI or if they're taking a CT scan,
Right.
they most likely can do.
Right.
I mean, they cannot tell ki, hey, you are completely healthy, but I'm still want to put you in the hospital for 2 days.
Yeah, because it'll be clear, right?
It will be clear that so what insurance companies also will do in such cases is if they're finding any particular hospital or any particular doctor is coming up with these sort of cases, they simply blacklist them because they know that you're just trying to cheat or kind of game the system.
And once you blacklist a hospital or a hospital provider, medical service provider, effectively that means that no individual can then go and claim insurance in that facility, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter even if your case is entirely genuine. If you're going to a blacklisted hospital, then the insurance company has every right to say, okay, I'm not going to pay you a single rupee from this.
Got it.
So from time to time, the insurance companies typically release their entire list of hospitals that they're putting on the blacklist.
Right.
So best way for you to do is go find a network hospital that the insurer has, because the insurance company
So how does one do this? Like, let's suppose I don't know, I'm not keeping up with the list, right? I don't know. So what is the best way? Because I know that some of our customers, even before they enroll in a hospital, they'll call us and they'll check with us, right? Is this hospital okay? But is there any other way? I mean, to just...
See, first way is every insurance company on their website will put up the entire list of hospitals that are part of their network.
Got it.
So if you're going to that particular network, right, the hospital and the insurer has already established some kind of a working relationship where the insurance company also knows that this hospital is not going to overcharge people or they're going to do things as per our processes.
Got it.
So if you're going to the network hospital, it is very easy for you to kind of get the entire process done. If you are not going to network hospital, then you have to check for the list if this particular hospital is part of the blacklisted hospitals. If that is the case, then you have to find another hospital from where you can get the treatment done. Then it should be okay.
Got it. Outside of these, are there any other things that customers should generally remember when they're making a claim so that it doesn't become a problem later? Any other tips or tricks that you probably should know of before filing a claim so that your claim doesn't get repudiated?
The claim intimation.
Right.
So oftentimes what happens is, if you are in an emergency situation as well, right, you typically get admitted in the hospital and once you are discharged, maybe let's say after 5 days or 6 days, then you will go ahead and file for the claim.
Right.
Now, you will still get the claim, but you still have to prove a lot of credibility with. So in certain cases, what happens is that the insurance companies want to come to the hospital and just do a preliminary investigation to see if this is actually the case or is it just a made up case. Now, the simplest thing that you have to do is if you have got your plan through Ditto or through any agent, you just inform the particular agent ki, hey, I have XYZ problem, even if you're not fully clear about the diagnosis also, right? You just fainted, let's just say, and you think that the hospital is going to admit you. You drop an email saying ki, this is the condition as of now, this is the hospital I'm going. I want to kind of raise a claim. I'll share more details later.
Okay.
Now, once you've intimated the claim, the faster you intimate, the better it is for you.
Got it.
Right? People simply forget ki they think ki, haan, theek hai, I can file it for later. Now, if the insurance company believes that there is some foul play over here, they can deny the particular claim. Now, if it is not a foul play, let's say that you had a leg fracture. Now, it is very evident, right? Now, a lot of cases where the doctors will simply tell ki this is just medical management.
Yeah.
Let's say you have a high fever.
Yeah.
Now, for a couple of days, they'll check for you for dengue, typhoid, all of those. All the reports come out to be negative, which means you have none of those. But the doctor is still going to keep you under observation for a day or two and then going to send you home.
Yeah.
Now, how will you even establish that this is actually required to be...
Correct. So that's evaluation and observation, which is generally not covered.
Not covered.
Unless it is followed up with the actual treatment protocol. Right?
Yeah. Now, in this case, if you have intimated the insurance company well in advance,
Right.
now if they feel ki, oh, something is wrong, they may probably want to send their person over to the hospital to check whether you are actually admitted or not. There are a lot of cases where the person is not even admitted in the hospital. They just print up these documents
Right.
and then they file for the claims.
Got it. So basically, claim intimation is something that you should generally be aware about, even if it's an emergency hospitalization, because the faster you intimate the claim, the better it is for you and whoever the aggrieved party is. And also, I think one other thing that Bhanu may not talk about, but I will want to talk about, is the role of advisory and having somebody on your side. Look, insurance companies always have an incentive to not pay out the claim even if they find the slightest reason. However, when you have an agent, and that doesn't have to be ditto, it could be your own offline agent, somebody you trust, right? You could probably go to them, you could probably pitch them what happened to you, and they may have some influence. The only difference with ditto is that we operate at a much larger scale. So somebody like a Bhanu, for instance, can go to the insurance company and tell them exactly why they should be processing the claim, because we've built a very extensive portfolio of cases before. But either way, irrespective of where you're buying the policy from, it's best to have somebody on your side before you make a claim, because that's what matters in the end. The claim may not go through if things don't go your way. So hopefully this video was useful and our discussion with Bhanu was also fruitful. And if you want to see more videos along these lines, please let us know. If you want us to talk about more claim cases where we break down the nuances of every claim, tell you how the customer could probably have dealt with this better, please let us know about that in the comment section as well. We'll make videos in the future and it'll probably help you guys. And if you like the video, like always, like the video, subscribe to the channel and comment what you want us to do next. Until then, I hope you have a nice evening, nice day, nice week, and I will see you next week with a new video. And until then, happy insurance hunting.